Quite honestly, I don't even know where to begin about telling the story of this campaign. 5 or 6 years ago, I started this epic journey, and now I can finally say I've done it. I suppose I better take you back now to the very beginning of this journey. Me and a friend Dolly, we had this particular mirror in mind. It was a £30 river carp, and to be fair, even to this day, a £30 river carp is nothing to grumble at. It's a very, very rare fish down, especially in my part of the country, down the southeast. There's not many of these fish around, and we decided that we were going to start fishing this certain stretch and trying to outwit this carp, and that is where it all began. We fell in love with the river. We fell in love with just how beautiful it can be, being out there in the wilderness and soaking in that energy that the nature really does give you. And I still to this day, I can't leave the rivers alone. They're just, I'm in my element out there, and yeah, I absolutely love it. To cut a long story short, otherwise we'd be here all night, my friend Ollie caught it after a season on there, and it left me with the choice: do I carry on, or do I leave on the high that he'd caught it? And I'd managed to photograph and film it for him back then. But there was this feeling of failure that I'd never managed to grace that fish myself. You know, I really wanted to hold that fish up for the camera, and it was just something that I had to do. You know, all these years now, we're 6 years on, and I've campaigned it through many different months of the years, trying to outwit this fish, and I'm sure I've lost it over the years. I've come very, very close to catching it off the surface as well, and I just had to go back for it this year. I had to. I didn't even have plans to until I stepped foot back on the river and that magic called me again. So I've done many June the 16th over the years, and there's that certain buzz, isn't there, when June the 16th rolls around. I've always been one for it, that I just get so excited. I've baited a spot, you know, a month prior, and when that comes around, it's just magical, isn't it? But this year, for some reason, I had no plans, absolutely no plans. And my friend Ollie, that I mentioned at the beginning, he asked me if I fancied doing opening night on a different stretch of river with him. I've never laid my eyes on it before. We went down a couple of nights beforehand, put a load of bait in, and honestly, I knew nothing was going to happen. It was just more of a social, being out there and just, you know, it's tradition, isn't it? We had a lovely barbecue, caught about 6 or 7 bream, and then woke up and we were supposed to go to work. And that day, I can't remember what happened on the job, but it got cancelled. So I was left with a free afternoon, and it was very hot that day. So I just knew that if I went back to this certain stretch of river, that quite possibly I might bump into my old friend, and there might be a chance of catching it. So I decided to pack the gear, get in the van and drive down to the Old Horn and hopefully catch a fish. And that is exactly what happened. It only took me about an hour and I was into this incredible, nice little common. Really nice. Lovely grey colours. Angry old male, this one. But I found a little spot where I keep seeing him mouth and scum off the surface, and like I said to you many times previously, if you see fish that are mouthing stuff off the surface, you can have them. Look at that. Absolutely lovely fish. Look at that for a river carp. First one of the season, and hopefully, even though I haven't got much planned for rivers this year, this has just got me buzzed to think, why not? I should definitely be out there pre-baiting spots and get amongst some of these wild carp, because that's what I live for. I love the wild carp. Thank you very much, girl. I'm one of those anglers, you know, if I go out stalking and I catch one fish, that gives me that fix that I need, and yeah, and I'll pack up and that'll do for the day. But it was still really hot, and on rivers it's different because you can have a fish, get it back, and you just spook that area. But you could walk 100 metres up the riverbank and there'd be just another group of fish, and that's exactly what happened. I couldn't believe my luck, but June the 16th this year was very kind to me, and I had another one. Can't believe it, I got another fish sulking in the net down there. Absolute mega. Sometimes you just have red letter sessions, and it's not often in river fishing that you can catch a couple like stalking on the top on blistering heat like this, but today is an exception, and I put that one back that you just saw 20 minutes ago, and I am so dehydrated, I haven't got any water. I thought I've got to go. Sorry. I've got to go and have a look back at the spot where I saw him all earlier. And I'm so glad I did. Look at this fish. Another absolute peach. Who doesn't like river carp, eh? Oh mate, what a absolute mega one. This river's nothing like any other flowing bit of water that I've fished in the past. Right upstream there's a weir, and it's got flowing water coming into it, and the stretch of river up there is no wider than 6 foot probably. You could literally jump across it, I mean this, and then that flows all the way down. It starts opening up sort of midway, which are about sort of 10-12 foot across. You could probably, rod length across. And then as you get down further into the town, then it really starts widening up. And over the years I've fished every section of this river. I have done hundreds and hundreds of miles on my legs, and that's what's made this journey so epic, that I can tell this story now knowing that I fished every nook and cranny on this river. And it makes you feel like you're fishing for different carp where you go in the river, like different sections. And I swear other carp just seem to hang around these areas. And this is what I was trying to do. I'd known of past captures of where this big girl likes to hang out and where it's been caught in the past, but I was trying not to get sucked into being caught up in the rat race of baiting other spots and then there's just going to be loads of us on one section. So I decided to start focusing my time on other parts of the river, and this is where I started doing quite a bit of time down near the town where it was a lot wider. And you seem to get a few boats down there, quite a few canoes, and I was catching a few fish. But all the time I knew in the back of my mind that this fish doesn't venture that far down there. Or if it does, very rarely. And I just didn't have the time to sit and wait years and years down the bottom end, so I had to make something happen. Like I said, I didn't have any plans on the river this year, but after catching those two fish, I thought I've got to have one last go for this fish. I mean, it's now or never. This fish is not getting any younger, and recently it's been a big fish kill on another one of my syndicates, and you realise that they're not around forever, so you really have to make the best of the situation whilst they're there. And I knew this year I was going to have to make it count, so I decided to find a spot a bit further upstream where I'd seen it previously before, soaking up the sun, and I just knew that the fish does actually venture there, so this would be a good starting point to start introducing big amounts of parkour. And yeah, that's exactly what I've done.
What a early morning buzz, eh? There's nothing like getting a river take. It's absolutely epic, especially on a tiny little river like this. When you do get them, they just fire upstream or downstream, and it's really hard to stop them, so you have to have all faith in your terminal tackle, because this fish put it through its paces, like I was saying. I definitely thought it was the big one, but it's a nice one nonetheless. Let's get her out. Little bit deflated because just as I was setting up the camera, the rod that I've just put out has ripped off, and as I got a chance, as I got to it, I picked it up and it just parted, but must have been something sharp somewhere. Cut me right off, like I said. Need faith in your tackle, and I do, but I don't know what happened there. But here is a lovely jet black common, and this one still making me happy, so what a beautiful morning to catch carp like this out here in the wild. Lovely, absolutely lovely fish. Well, what an epic battle that was this morning. I kept getting knocks for the last sort of hour or two, basically like little bream bites but not hooking themselves, and I was starting to wonder. I was thinking, if they are bream, how come they are not hooking themselves? I reckon it must have been feeding carp on the spocks and fishing under the rod tip, just hitting into the line, and then it all hell broke loose. And I'll tell you what, that was the hardest fighting river carp that I've ever caught, and if I had have lost it, which I did think multiple times I had, I thought it would have been the big one. I was waiting for it to pop up in front, but sadly it's not. But it's another beautiful common from here, really nice dark one. and it's just gone past 10 to 5, so you know, I'm going to get a new rig on and put it back out, because I've still got an hour or two, so you never know, something else might pop up. Right, let's get this rod replaced. Honestly, you just wouldn't believe it. I was right down here doing the pictures of that other carp, and I hear my receiver just go beep beep, and absolute into meltdown, and we've got another one. What's going on this morning? It was Thursday night last night, and on Sunday I came down here and I put in a 25 litre bucket of park pellets, boilies, and gave it 4 nights, returned. And they're obviously on it, so yeah, 3 takes. Hopefully the one that I lost wasn't a bloody big one, because that would not be very fun. But I did have a massive bow wave, to be fair. But what can you do? I hope that wasn't it. I'll keep on trying. Such a shame I lost the other one, but another cool little character. Shame about the old sunshine coming through, but you know.
At this time of year, I really try to focus a lot of my fishing around stalking. As you all know, that's the style of angling that I do. And even though I'm bait in this area, I just know that I can't sit behind motionless rods anyway, you know, I just can't do it, it's not part of what I do. And especially when it's hot. So even though I'm topping up that spot all the time, every single time I'm down there, I'm quite often off, doing my own thing, just roaming around, trying to catch him. And I bumped into this fish that I can remember it from years and years ago, that it's got a tiny little dorsal on it. It's a common, and it's probably around 25 pounds. And me and Ollie, we named it Spike years ago, and not one of us had managed to bank it. And on this hot day that I was down there, I see it mouthing at the scum, and as soon as I see fish doing that, I just know that I have to get in position, and I know that I can have that fish.
oh my god. Never managed to catch it. One that me and my mate named Spike, I think it is. It's definitely a 20 pounder. Woo! Hey, river carp. Look at that. Wow. close to one of my biggest river carp. No, I'm over the moon. What a fish. Look at his little weathered fins. Tiny little tail. That's what they're all about in here. Mega. Right. Let's get away. Thank you so much. What a river carp. Absolute over the moon about that one.
After returning that carp to his natural habitat, if you like, I just knew the weekend before I'd had great success stalking, and it was just as hot that day. So I knew I had to venture back up. So I'd gone back to the van, started the engine, and drove about 2 miles further downstream to another spot where I know they like to just sun themselves, and that again, there was more fish there, and I'd seen that there was this mirror carp sitting up underneath this vegetation, and my old heart started going. I was thinking, that's the big girl. There's not many mirrors in there. There's literally probably like 3 or 4, and it looked quite big, and I thought, this is my time. You know, it's catchable. So I've literally whacked on a fingernail-sized bit of bread like I always do, and pinged it across to the far margin, and slowly moved back. And it took it. And honestly, I really thought I was connected to this big carp. But it turned out it was a fish that I'd had previously quite a few years ago. It was a mirror carp, a young one that had come through. But yeah, it's starting to get big, but I just slipped that one back because it's a recapture, and one that I wasn't quite after. So
that fish is going to be a big one for the future. I didn't realise, but I caught that one probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's definitely. Well, what a beautiful morning. I wish I was feeling a little bit more with it. Really restless night. Quite a few bream, which is quite unheard of really on this river. We don't normally get played with small fish, but yeah, quite a few big slabs as well. But also an absolute remarkable, fully scaled, an old friend of mine. But it's such a lovely fish. I haven't seen it in so many years. I'm going to get it out, and I'm going to show you just how remarkable this fish is. I love river fishing. I always say it, don't I? But you just can't beat it. Catching these remarkable fish. Incredible. I think you'll all agree with me that that is a very special river carp. Just look at the colours of it. Look at the scale pattern. Just an incredible river carp. This is exactly why I fish rivers, because you just never know what's coming along. And then sometimes you just get lucky and you catch things like this that you don't realise were once in this river. Absolutely remarkable. But yeah. Right, let's get her back, because I've got to get to work. I've got to pile a lot more bait in, and hopefully I'll be back Friday. So one step closer to that big one. We're getting there.
I had a little trip booked and planned to go to Italy for a friend's wedding. So I got the spot rocking that week, and I had to disappear. And whilst I was away in Italy, loving life, this country saw some serious amounts of rain, and it was well needed because all the water levels around this country have gone down feet, haven't they? So when I came back, the whole river had rose, it had murked up, there was a big flow on it, and I just wasn't feeling it. But I had to keep going. There's only one way I'm going to catch this fish, and it's to keep going. So I pre-baited spots again, and just carried on doing consistent nights each week. And it was really quiet. I wasn't having any luck. I was getting the odd bream, and I just think this murkiness that had come with the rain had just I'm not quite sure, either visual or it was washing my bait away. I don't know, but all I can say was very quiet, and it was just one that I was just going to have to wait out, and hopefully something would come along soon. As I briefly mentioned earlier, I'd spoken with a farmer who owns the land where I was fishing in, and I explained to him how it was really affecting pushing my barrow over the fields, obviously because he'd ploughed it. So I was having to push all the way around the field. It was about double the journey, but it was so much easier to go round than straight over. And he told me that I could drive up the side of the river, up the track, and this night, we're starting to get into autumn now, and the weather was changing, and I can remember at home I'd taken all the tools out the van, everything, and I'd kitted out like I'd done previously a few years ago, and I'd put my bed chair in the van, set up a nice little home, had the old stove and that in there, and it was just going to be a nice easier way for me to fish. So I was kitted out ready to do a night, and I don't know what happened to me, but I was driving to the river, and I was starting to think that I hadn't seen any carp around. Like I said, because of the rain and everything, it just, something wasn't quite right. So I decided to go back up to upstream to this weir that I'd slightly mentioned at the beginning. This weir, it looks amazing. But you never ever see any carp up there. It's not a place where the carp like to hold. And it's, you know, we're late into September now. And they were all there. It was really overcast this day. But I thought, I'm going to have a look here. I'm just going to take my stalking gear. And honestly, I couldn't believe it. I remember being on the phone to my dad, and I bumped into a few carp. I was like, Dad, I've got to go. And one just led to another, and those two led to another, and there was about 8 fish up near this weir, and I could not believe my luck. You know, I had one cast for them, and I caught one straight away, and the fish were just still milling around. Honestly, I didn't know what was going on. It took me by absolute shock, but yeah, it was another one to the tally, and a really incredible, nice little comment again. Oh my God, he's got one up by the weir, and let me tell you, I have never seen fish up here. Look, the fish are still here, floating around as well. Oh no, there's one under the feet, look, right there. That's a good fish as well. Oh my God, look at them all. What is happening? Alright, I've got to concentrate and get this fish in. Look at that. God. Ah, yes. God.
Come on then. That's what we're talking about. Got one. Lovely. What a day. Really fought hard as well. Look at him. Really, really nice fish. Such a grey one, it just looks incredible in the sunshine. And it's just so much fun stalking them in this weather. I honestly did not expect to be catching anything today, well, especially not stalking them. We've had a lot of rain, the water's murked up, and I've just, like I said, came up to the shallow part of the river, and they were here, and they were in numbers as well. So I've been back to the van, I've got some parkle, and I'll try and nab another one before the night comes in, and then I'll move to my normal spot. So yeah, absolutely made up for this one. Let's get back.
After that, it was the time to get my van going across these fields. I was absolutely buzzed for this. You know, to be able to now fish it a lot more easier than having to push over these fields, and it just makes life easy, doesn't it? You know, I'm fishing out the back of the van, so I haven't got to set anything up. I just literally put my rods onto the spot, and I can consistently start putting bait in on big amounts of bait. I haven't got big buckets over the fields on my barrow now, so life was about to get a lot easier. So I'd got there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon after I'd caught this fish. I was back into the spot, and sometimes, you know, I'm just standing there. There was this really bitter wind hacking across. It was a real feel that autumn and winter's on its way. So I had to put my beanie on, I had to get my Sherpa on, and I remember sitting there thinking, it's not going to happen tonight. It's not going to happen. I might go home, you know, sit on the sofa, watch a nice film, and it was going over in my head, you know, I've baited this area, I really must put these rods out on it. You just never know, do you? You've got to be in it to win it. So the night drew in, and I'd only put probably a couple of scoops of particle around it, and I was just fishing snowmen over the top of it, you know, no big items of bait, literally just particle mixed with tigers, medals and things like that, and then just a snowman. And I remember being tucked up in bed in the back of the van, and nothing happened. I had no liners, I had no bream, and it was really bitter, honestly. Like that first cold night that you get in the autumn, it really takes you by surprise, doesn't it? And I was thinking, it's not going to happen. Nothing's happening. And I woke up at 3 o'clock, and suddenly thought to myself, it's not going to happen again. I haven't had a fish for ages. And then 5 o'clock rolled round. The sun started coming up, and my rod went into absolute meltdown. Oh my god. Oh my god. I've done it. I've only gone and done it. Only 5 or 6 years. And it's over. She's mine. She's in the net. I couldn't believe that. Fast asleep. It's a pretty cold night tonight, and I was thinking, nothing's happened. It's been really quiet, not even a single bream. And then it rattled off 5:30 this morning. It's just about to get light. Oh my god. I've got a 30-pound river carp in the net. Come on! God, it means so much to me, this. Epic. What a day.
Well, I can't actually believe that this fish is laying on my mat. I've dreamt of this moment for quite a few years now. I always thought the time was going to come, and finally it has. Look at that for a river carp. Honestly, like I say, this fish means a lot to me. It's really tested me over the last few years. I keep coming down, keep campaigning for it, it just never turns up. I've missed it off the surface a couple of times. But last night, on a cold, crisp autumn's night, finally got it. Oh man, what a moment. What a fish. I noticed that with the fully, that they eat shells. They eat some sort of mussels. I don't know why I've done that, I didn't come to you. Oh my god, I'm so soaked, mate. Right. Up she goes, put her up high. Honestly, I've got so much water in here, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get out.
Years ago, me and Ollie started this journey together. He owed me a favour from when I came down to do the shots for him when he caught this fish. So I gave him a ring, 5:30 in the morning. And fair play to him, he was straight on it. He come down with his dog River, and we both finished this journey the way we started it, and that was together. And it was a real moment, you know, a fish that I've been dreaming about for so many years, a fish that's taken me so many leg miles, cost me so much in diesel, was finally in my net, and I could say that I'd finally ended this chapter of my angling, and it was just an incredible moment, and one that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Cheers then, 31-4. Come on then, get up there. Yes. I can't believe it. Splendid. What a splendid morning.